So that particular way is going to rip you off in cost as well as efficiency. Welcome to another episode of Question and Answer. Wouldn't it be easier, cheaper, and more versatile to get a small string inverter with built-in export limiting instead of building this out of microinverter components? Curious why you went the Hoymiles route. Oh, there's so many. And I think when I'm done explaining, you all will agree that my thought process is pretty darn good. So I personally think the all-in-one units are kind of a ripoff in a couple of different scenarios. If you're truly trying to go with a grid-tied solution. Now, if you're trying to get off-grid capabilities as well as grid indirect features, then some of the big ones can make a lot of sense. But first and foremost, if you've got a big array like I've got up here on my roof, and you're connecting to a string style, big inverter, you are way more affected by partial shading and different things because the strings will get dragged down by, one panel being shaded, even though the other 10 panels are completely open and available to the sun. The Hoymiles microinverter is very nice because it's got the capability of servicing 4 panels. However, each panel that attaches to it gets its own individual MPPT solar charge controller. So there's only one inverter inside of this, but each panel has its own controller. So that means that if I partially shade this panel, this singular panel is going to be the only one affected. The other 3 are going to continue to work at their max output. So you get just massive efficiency gains if you have this deployed anywhere that could potentially get partial shading. If you've got a place where you've got straight sun up to sundown, then the string inverter would be perfect. But a lot of places, especially backyards and balconies and different things like that, you're going to get partial shading. And so to wring out every watt that you can get, the Hoymiles system just makes a ton of sense. The other thing is scalability, right? A big string inverter usually has a minimum voltage that it needs of solar before it even starts, accepting power from the solar panel. So usually it's a little bit more of an upfront investment because you've got to buy more panels all at once. You've got to buy the bigger inverter all at once. Quite often, more cables and wiring and different things like that all at once. Whereas with this system, you can get just one panel and hook it up to just one of the ports of the microinverter and it will work. It will actually generate electricity. Or you can do a deployment of, 4 panels at once with one of the inverters. And the cool thing is this trunk cable accepts up to 3 of these microinverters. And so when you're ready to expand your system, simply get another inverter and daisy chain it on to the plug that's on the end of this cable right here, and away you go. So it makes these systems a lot more in reach cost-wise for people. If you can get in and start offsetting your power bill, then you can start taking that money you save every month and apply it to savings to expand the system, and it compounds itself, right? You're not fighting an uphill battle paying your electric bill, your full electric bill every single month while you're trying to save for a big, huge string inverter and all the parts and pieces and panels that are needed for that. Start small, just get one panel and your microinverter and immediately start knocking a few cents off your electric bill every day. And then the other thing is redundancy. A big string inverter, if it has a problem and it goes down, your entire solar is offline. If you've got multiples of these inverters, then one inverter might go down, but at least you have another one still working while you get the other one replaced or whatever. So those are the 3 big reasons why I think the microinverter setup is superior. Question, the 1,200 watt limit in Utah, is that per 120 volt leg or 1,200 watts for the whole 240 volt system? This makes a huge difference in how much I can deploy legally. Well, I have fantastic news for you. It is for the whole 240 volt system. However, in Utah, the way the law is written is it's 1,200 watts maximum exported to the grid. Okay, so they're measuring an amount of power getting pushed back to the grid, not necessarily a deployed quantity of solar on your property. And so don't forget, as part of this system, you have this limiter, right? And so basically I would set this to 0 export like I have, and then if a big load shuts off or whatever and there's a momentary feedback back to the grid, I should be in good shape so long as I'm not exporting more than 1,200 watts. And so in theory, with that limiter, I can deploy as large of a solar array as I want, so long as I'm not exporting more than 1,200 watts back to the grid. And so that's the limitation. And I haven't looked at all the states' laws that are going through right now. But I think a lot of them are patterned after Utah, and I think a lot of people are going to be able to make use of that definition and get much larger arrays so long as they limit the total export that is going to the grid. you're just self-consuming on site all the power that you're generating, with the exception of maybe 1200 watts or something slightly lower than that. I have a rooftop system already permitted at a fixed export limit. Walk me through exactly how you'd use this 240 volt plug-in setup to expand generation behind that limit without tripping my interconnection agreement. That is a fantastic question, and exactly how I'm using my system. Now, I didn't go in depth in the video on this particular thing. I mentioned it in passing, but you can see I've got this big solar array here on the roof of my house. It is grid tied, and if this is functioning at absolute peak performance, which there are only a handful of days of the year that it does actually function at peak performance, then it is maxing out my full backfeed, assuming that my house isn't consuming all of it or part of it, right? Most of the time the house is consuming part of it, so this may be going full tilt, and my export is permitted for this array to go full tilt back to the grid. There's usually always a fridge or a air conditioner or something running, and so rarely am I hitting the full export limit. Well, with this array here, now I can actually meet that limit, but make sure that I don't exceed it with the limiter. So here's the secret sauce to how that works. Make sure that your CT clamp are behind both solar arrays, right? So they're feeding into your panel, down here somewhere, and this is strictly just the grid connection. That way your CT clamps have a good idea of the entire direction of power and how much power is going through those grid wire, okay? Then when you set up the app, obviously select the split phase 120/240 volt option. Go with grid meter B right here, and then this setting right here, the export power limit. What I would do is set that for maybe like 100 watts lower than what your permitted backfeed amount is. So if you do a negative value in this, that's going to pull power in from the grid, so you would do a positive figure. So for example, my rooftop system is permitted for 7.6 kilowatts of backfeed power to the grid. So what I would do in my case is I would type right here 7.5 kilowatts. And so those CT clamps and this power meter will allow power to go backwards through it to the grid up to 7.5 kilowatts. As soon as we start hitting that, then it's going to start throttling the solar that it can throttle down. But then let's say your air conditioner turns on or whatever, and you need a little extra solar power, then obviously it's going to ramp the Hoymiles solar back up so that you can easily offset that load and still not exceed the permitted backfeed amount. So it's just super, super easy, just a matter of a slight adjustment in the app. Don't forget that down in the description of all my videos are these links that I'm highlighting right here that can help you with further questions you have. Obviously, continue to comment them because I do this weekly question and answer video. But if you have an absolutely burning question or want some back and forth and insight, consider scheduling one of these one-on-one video consultations. You can also just submit a written question to me that I answer in depth but more simply. And then everyone's latest favorite feature, my custom search engine here. This thing is awesome. Watch this. I'll type Hoymiles, and now all of a sudden you can find every single video on my channel that has mention of Hoymiles. I've done a lot of content about the Hoymiles system and how it could help offset air conditioning loads. I've got the full review of the Hoymiles system. Anyway, any question, any keyword, whatever it may be, just simply type in this box and it will find any videos that have that word in it, either in the description, the title, or the best part, the transcription. So if you're wanting to see this part at 1 minute and 4 seconds, you can click that. It's going to open the video and start you right at that point. So a huge, huge resource for all of you that has been very, very popular. So take advantage of it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype. We've got so many epic things in the pipeline coming up here. You guys are going to love it. Sure appreciate your support. I really appreciate you all watching and spending time with me. That means the world to me. Stay safe, and we'll catch y'all next time.